You're watching CW Montana. This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
And good evening, and thanks for joining us on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news. Here are some of the stories making headlines tonight around our state. A mission to make thousands of Montana homes safer tonight. We tag along as firefighters install and test smoke detectors. Plus, a judge stepping in telling a murder suspect accused of shooting a Broadwater County Sheriff's deputy that he could be forcibly given medication for trial. We'll check in on today's ruling in Lewis and Clark County. But first, speculation over a possible run to the White House is in focus for Governor Steve Bullock. There are new details tonight surrounding a run to the White House for Montana Governor Steve Bullock. A major announcement is expected to come in the weeks ahead. This as Bullock has dodged any conclusive answers regarding his run for presidency. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison has more on the governor's ambitious goal.
Governor Bullock isn't talking publicly yet about his future plans, but MTN News has learned that in a couple of weeks he'll be announcing that he's running for president. The two-term Democratic governor would join a field that already includes 20 Democrats who are competing for their party's nomination to challenge President Trump in 2020. Bullock's announcement won't come as a big surprise. He has a political action committee called Big Sky Values, which has been funding his political activities at various locales around the country since late 2017. The 53-year-old Bullock also has campaign-related staff on the ground in Iowa, the site of the nation's first presidential nominating caucus next February. A Big Sky Values PAC spokeswoman told MTN News Wednesday that Bullock is a progressive champion and tested leader who has been highlighting his clear and optimistic vision for the future. Some Democrats have been pushing Bullock to challenge Republican U.S. Senator Steve Daines next year, but Bullock has said he's not interested. Montana State University political science professor David Parker told MTN Wednesday that Bullock is certainly a long shot as a presidential candidate. But he also said Bullock has a compelling story to tell about succeeding as a Democratic governor in a Republican-leaning state, and that Bullock could argue he has appeal to rural voters, particularly in a state like Iowa. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
So Bullock can't run for re-election as governor next year because of the term limits. Well, we do have an update on an outbreak of whooping cough in Missoula County as the number of cases jumps now to 24. The Missoula County School Superintendent says students tested positive for whooping cough at 5 schools across the district. Each school is identifying close contacts to determine if others need medical care. The vaccine is not 100% effective, even if students have been vaccinated. More cases of whooping cough also confirmed in the Bitterroot in Lolo and Florence schools. It was a deadly evening commute in Belgrade tonight as Montana Highway Patrol say a person was struck and killed by a semi on Interstate 90. MTN's Cody Boyer takes us to the scene.
If you look behind me, the Gallatin County Sheriff Coroner did arrive on scene, and they are looking into exactly what happened. When I first arrived here, a Central Valley firefighter came up to me and warned that they indeed had a fatality. Now, Montana Highway Patrol, they cannot confirm that at this time, they say. Sergeant Amundsen did speak with me. He did tell me that they did have a man in the roadway. They were not sure if he was walking across or what the circumstances were, but he did confirm that a tractor trailer hit him.
We have a serious injury accident. It was a motor vehicle versus pedestrian.
Sergeant Amundsen says that forced the entire westbound lane of I90 near exit 299 to be rerouted.
We shut down the road while they're doing medical treatment, for serious medical treatment. We got the evening rush hour coming on at the 4 to 5 o'clock hour here in the Bozeman-Belgrade area. We need to investigate the crash. We got a number of investigators out here.
While details are still unknown, investigators say one thing is clear.
It's against the law to walk on the roadway on the interstate, so terribly hazardous to be out on the roadway.
We are still working on learning more details as they are investigating this case, but for now, we do know that there was at least a man in the road. He was hit by a tractor trailer, and the Montana Highway Patrol, alongside the Gallatin County Sheriff's Department, is investigating. In Belgrade, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
All right, tonight Billings police are questioning an elderly man after reports he was trying to grab children at public parks. Billings police have yet to determine if the 73-year-old man's motives. and what they were. But this is where it kind of happened. 3 different incidents happening in 3 days, all in public areas, including the Heights, Optimist Park, and a situation on the south side as well. Investigators are unsure if the man had criminal intent or if he has a mental illness. So a little bit more details on what police say took place. They say an elderly man grabbed a 4-year-old by the hand, but the child's sibling intervened in that time, and then that man left. The next day, a man approached a 5-year-old at a park asking the child to take a jog with him. Then on April 20th, the man approached another child at that same park, grabbing them and trying to walk away. That's when the mother's child stepped in and called police about that. New information tonight involving a murder of a Broadwater County Sheriff's deputy as a Helena judge says the suspect could be forcibly medicated for court. MTN's Evelyn Schultz has more on today's decision.
In June of last year, Lloyd Barris was found unfit to stand trial. Doctors said he suffered from a number of mental health disorders. The order comes after hearings in December and January involving expert testimony. The judge was trying to determine whether the state should be able to involuntarily medicate Barris to get him to a point where he's fit to stand trial. Authorities accused Lloyd Barris's son Marshall of fatally shooting Deputy Moore during a pursuit. It happened near Three Forks on May 16, 2017. Lloyd and Marshall Barris then led law enforcement on a chase that ended near Missoula. Marshall died in a shootout with officers. This week's order points to a similar shootout and standoff Barris was involved in the year 2000 in California. There, he was initially found unfit to stand trial. Court records show Barris was involuntarily medicated and responded well enough, so the case proceeded. Judge Seeley also said some expert witness testimony advocating for psychotherapy without medication is impractical. To medicate Barris, doctors are required to follow appropriate safety measures and monitor him for potential side effects. They must also update the court on the status of treatment and requests for changes to the treatment plan. In Helena, I'm Evelyn Schultz, MTN News.
And in all, Barris is charged with 5 felonies in the shooting death of Deputy Mason Moore. There are some new details tonight on a Butte doctor who pled guilty to sexually assaulting 6 women in his care as a judge has sentenced him to 10 years in prison. Dr. Patrick McGree apologized to his victims, saying he takes full responsibility for his actions, while the judge said his criminal behavior went on for years. McGree lost his license to practice medicine and is fined $5,000. It's one of the Navy's newest warships, and it bears the name of Montana's largest city. The U.S. Billings is now just months away from being placed into service. The Navy announced the ship will be commissioned on August 3rd in Key West, Florida. The U.S. Billings is the 15th in the class of combat ships, known for their speed and versatility. There is just amazing pictures of it. It will mostly operate in water close to shore once it heads into action. Have you ever noticed an increase in your homeowner's insurance? Well, if so, you're definitely not alone. A new survey says homeowners in Montana saw their insurance rate jump 61%. And the main culprit, natural disasters nationwide.
You know, when those top insurance companies like your Allstates, your State Farm, Farmers, Geico, and Progressive, when they're experiencing billions of dollars of loss across the country, you know, it's the homeowners that really end up footing the bill at the end of the day. Insurance companies take a loss, therefore rates go up for the insurance companies to recoup those losses.
And the survey shows Montana is listed 21st for increases. Take a look at this and take a look at how Montana compares. North Dakota and Wyoming ranked 18th and 19th. The states facing the stiffest increase are those states in Tornado Alley. Those prices jumped more than 70%. So the next time you watch severe weather taking a toll across the country, keep that in mind. It's also taking a bite out of everyone's pocketbooks. Well, firefighters are heading door to door this week, making sure Helena homes are protected with working smoke detectors. And fire crews will be knocking on doors on May 3rd and 4th. Those with the Red Cross hope to have 100,000 smoke detectors installed across the U.S. And firefighters and volunteers will also install and test those smoke detectors for you. They're doing it all for free.
Having good smoke detectors in your home is vital to, I guess, your ability to survive a fire in your home and wake you up, because a lot of people die actually in their sleep. and they never even have a chance to escape from their home.
And a scary statistic to pass along to you from firefighters. They say the average time to evacuate a burning building like your home, roughly less than 2 minutes. That means those smoking detectors, those working smoke detectors, are so crucial. As protection of Yellowstone National Park grizzly bears hangs in legal limbo, wildlife managers are vowing to continue research and prevent human conflict. And leaders are meeting in Kalispell this week, focusing on bear management.
That doesn't mean that the work that we're doing right now to reduce conflicts and to take into consideration expanding grizzly bear populations isn't a live conversation for us. The recent establishment or setting up the Governor's Advisory Council on grizzly bears is an effort to have that conversation more broadly about what would the state of Montana and Montanans have us do about grizzly bear expansion outside the recovery areas.
Biologists say efforts will continue to make people more bear aware and try and limit those conflicts. Dog owners, you have to find somewhere else to take your pup for some exercise in Great Falls, as a popular dog park is closing for several weeks. In Great Falls, the Pacific Steel and Recycling Trailside Dog Park, it's closing May 6th. During the closure, grass is going to be fertilized and seeded and irrigated, and that whole process is done to prevent the turf damage. The park, though, it will reopen. It's going to happen June 3rd. Well, still to come on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news. Treasures have filled up this property for decades, but now this Loma shop owner closing her doors. So where will those treasures go now? We're going to have her story ahead. And are things finally starting to dry out across Montana with a chance of sunny skies? We'll have Bob McGuire just around the break with your weather forecast.